Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar this morning. This is Getting Ready for Year-End in Dynamics SL. Our agenda today is to start with some introductions of our team. Then we will discuss the Dynamics SL roadmap, review migrating to the cloud, and then go over SL year-end and 2018 CU11 update. We'll finish with a review of the SL year-end process. This is your Quisitive ERP team. Your host today is Jeff Bonasek. Jeff is our Principal Solutions Architect here at Quisitive. He has 30 years of experience working with ERP systems and is certified in Dynamics GP, Dynamics SL, Business Central, Sage Intacct, and Uninet. My name is Michelle Chesser, and I'm a Customer Account Manager here at Quisitive along with Marian Hartka and Angela Gillis. One housekeeping item today. During the presentation, you'll be in listen-only mode, but you can ask questions or ask for assistance in the question or chat box in the GoToMeeting menu. Please feel free to enter your questions throughout the presentation, and then at the end, we will have time for some Q&A. We will also be recording the webinar today, and we will send you the link to the presentation along with a copy of it. And now, without further ado, I will turn this over to Jeff. Jeff, you can take it away.
Thank you, Michelle, and good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. I appreciate your joining us our very last year-end session webinar for Dynamics SL. And the reason why it's the very last is if you're not aware, Microsoft Dynamics SL is being sunsetted at the beginning of next year. Now, when we say sunsetted, that means the product will continue to run. It's not going to stop running in January next year. But no more year-end updates will be provided for the calendar year 2024. So if you continue to run Dynamics SL through 2024, you'll have to find other means to be able to run things like 1099s. We'll give you some options for that today as well. This is the last roadmap that Microsoft had put together. And as you can see, 2022 really was the end of their vision of Dynamics SL. They did extend it to the end of 2023, and I think it's the 11th of January, SL goes into something called extended support mode. The life cycle looks a little bit like this. If you're running previous versions, 2015, it has been in extended support and remains in extended support through January of 2025. If you're running Dynamics SL 2018, CU3 or the latest update, CU3 or later, that is now coming out of mainstream support in January of next year and will be in extended support through 2028. Now, keep in mind, extended support means that any security patches or updates that are needed to keep the product secure will be provided for that same annual fee that you're paying for maintenance now. But SL is officially now in the sunset mode for the product. Also, I want you to be assured that our support, that is Quisitive support of Microsoft Dynamics SL, does not change. We will continue to support you as long as we practically can, and our vision is to do so through this extended support phase as well. Although costs may increase as resources on our side begin to diminish, that's just normal market play. But we will continue to support you as long as we practically can. So you have some time to decide what your next steps are going to be. Again, mainstream support ends 11/2024 for 2018, and then we go into extended support for 2018 through 2028. If you are on a previous version, I would highly recommend that you engage with us, do an upgrade to the very latest version of Dynamics SL so that you can keep it running for as long as it practically can. Considering that SL is going into sunset mode, what are your options in the future? And we think there are three that our customers who are running Dynamics SL are choosing, and we'd like to share with you. We'll go through each one of these together, but this is also true for our Dynamics GP customers that we'll all have to be considering moving from what we call the classic products. Dynamics GP and SL were developed in the 70s on client-server technology, and moving really to a cloud-based solution, which has been really the industry standard for the last 7 to 10 years. The first product, that we would encourage you to consider is Microsoft's product. It's called Dynamics 365 Business Central. Business Central, BC for short, many people call it. It features a modern user interface, meaning you access it through the browser, access anytime, anywhere. And it has reporting capabilities that are similar or comparable to Dynamics SL in the fact that we use natural charts of accounts, and we use what we call dimensions to identify what you would call your sub-account in SL today. One of the strengths of Dynamics Business Central, or BC, is it's living inside of the Microsoft ecosystem, which really allows you to gain the full functionality of all the Microsoft services that are available to you, including artificial intelligence, Power BI, which is a visualization tool you may be using today, Microsoft Flow, Power Apps. Because Business Central lives inside of that Microsoft environment, all these tools are available to you to continue to progress and improve your experience with the system. It is also being housed in Microsoft Azure, which has an army of systems engineers. Microsoft invested over $1 billion last year in engineering and security in keeping their Azure environment secure and up and running 24/7. And by moving to Business Central, you're moving to a subscription service where you do not need to worry about keeping servers up and running. You do not need to be worried about doing updates. These are all being handled by the manufacturer themselves. The system is automatically updated, and it runs 24/7, all guaranteed and supported by Microsoft. Another product that we think you should consider is Sage Intacct. Sage Intacct is a competitive product to Microsoft Business Central. Sage is, in fact, the world's largest accounting software manufacturer, and Intacct is just one of their product lines. Intacct was developed in the early 2001 as a cloud-only solution. So from the get-go, it only ran via browsers and through the cloud. Its strengths are multi-tenancy, meaning everyone sits on the same version of Sage Intacct at the same time. And when the updates happen, they happen automatically, and really without any engagement by customers. So you'll just come in on a Monday morning and be notified that the latest version of Sage has been installed. And all the new features and benefits that come with that new version happen automatically. So we break that upgrade cycle. It too has an account and dimensional structure that's very powerful in replacing your account and sub-account structure inside of Dynamics SL. Also, Sage is the only product that is being recommended by the AICPA for ERP solution, and it tends to play particularly strong in the nonprofit market space. So if you're a nonprofit running Dynamics SL, we think Sage Intacct is something you should take a look at. It has a integration environment that allows integration with many third-party products outside of the system, so that it's considered a best-of-breed solution. And it has built-in AI and machine learning technology that are really changing the way we do business in ERP solutions today. So we think you should take a look at that. If you're a government contractor and you have government contracts, we think you should take a serious look at Uninet's ERP GovCon solution. Now, we've been working with Uninet for many, many years, and if you are GovCon, you probably are running Uninet for time entry and expense entry, but you may not know that Uninet added a full set of financials many, many years ago, and so they fleshed out the entire solution so it can run as a standalone solution and not necessarily need Dynamics SL as a back-end solution. So accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger, all added, purchasing and inventory management added just recently as well. Again, this is the solution we think for those people who their business is really governed by projects and the resources associated with their projects, and they tend to be government contractors as well. So those are three solutions for you to consider. Not sure what is the right solution for you? Well, that's what we're here for. So reach out to us, reach out to your customer account managers. You can sit down and have a discussion about where you are with Dynamics SL. We are experts in SL, so we are ideally positioned to understand what you're using, how it's working, how it's not working, and then map that to feature functionality of cloud-based the cloud-based solutions that we mentioned. We're also being experts in SL and being experts in Business Central and Sage Intacct and Uninet. We're also in a key position to help you migrate your data historically over to those new systems, so you can take advantage of all that wonderful history that we built with inside of Dynamics SL. So reach out to your customer account manager. Happy to have a discussion with you about what your options are and give you a recommendation on what we think the right next solution is for you. So let's move on now to the year-end update. So for year 2023, there is a planned release for the year-end update of next week. Microsoft never publishes this, of course, to make it more interesting, but it always comes out before the end of the year. So we're expecting the year-end update to come out then. Now, what we do know is that there are no changes to 1099 forms this year, so we're not expecting any alignment issues or any changes there, although there are changes to 1096 form. Let's talk a little bit about that in more detail. What versions are supported? Well, just 2018 is supported for these year-end updates. Again, this will be the last year-end updates provided on mainstream support. And if you are on a previous version and or on extended support, then updates we're expecting will come out for 2015 CU2 or later. Again, you must be on that extended support to be able to take advantage of that. And again, extended support is a separate package which you have to purchase separately. Contact your customer account manager if you're interested in exploring that a little bit further. What updates we're expecting? Again, the 1099s do not change, but we are expecting the 1096 form is changing. That's the summary form that comes out at the end of running your 1099s. Also, we wanted to note that for year 2023, it's imperative that you file electronically. The Taxpayer First Act mandates that electronic filing for IRS for anyone who produces over 10 1099s or W-2s, which is just about I think that's every customer officially that we have. So you need to consider filing those electronically if you've not done so in the past. Now, SL will produce the electronic file for you, so you can generate it directly from SL. And if you're on versions of SL that don't produce it, there are some options for you. We'll go over that. The changes to the 1096 form here are listed, basically some boxes moved around. We have to get the alignment done right. And that's part of what the year-end update will do for you. So those changes are listed here. By the way, this presentation will be available to you afterwards so that you can download it, rerun it. There are some links that we have in here that you might find useful. So look for that and download this presentation. If you are choosing not to apply the year-end update and still want to be able to produce 1099s, there are a plethora of options out there for you. These are not Microsoft options. These are out on the Common Web itself. But these are 1099 applications that will ingest or import your 1099 data from your ERP system, SL in this case. So we make a smart list, which we extract your 1099 data, and then we import it into these systems. They'll produce the paper-based 1099s, the electronic file 1099s, the 1096, the whole 9 yards. So again, this is an option for those users who are not going to apply the year-end updates or who are in previous versions of Dynamics SL that are not supported for year-end update. They can still gather their information inside of Dynamics SL and extract it into a file and then import it into these systems. And for those customers who will continue to use Dynamics SL to extend through the year 2024, these are options for you for doing next year 1099 processing, since there will be no year-end update for Dynamics SL for the calendar year 2024 and beyond. So let's review what the year-end processes are for Dynamics SL. And again, you're all very well versed, having run SL for many, many years. This is really just a review for you and a couple thoughts to think about in doing your year-end process. So the first is inventory control. Should you be running inventory control? What are the closing processes? It's important to remember that you want to do the year-end close before you do any new transactions that would affect inventory in the next year. And those transactions would either come from inventory, they could come from purchase order processing, they could come from sales order processing. So essentially you want to close your inventory as quickly as you possibly can so that you can begin transacting in the year 2024. What are the processes that you need to do? The first thing you need to do is close out all transactions in those subledgers, purchasing, sales order, invoicing, that affect 2023. You want to close those appropriately. We recommend you do a reconciliation process where you reconcile your inventory. That might include physical, maybe not, depending on what your business process is. And then make any adjustments that you necessarily need to do, and then go ahead and close the year. So just some things to remember. If you're using sales order processing and purchase order processing, make sure you close and complete all those processes first before you close the inventory, which is our second tier level of modules. First tier being general ledger, second tier being inventory, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and so on and so forth. And then the third tier are those ancillary products like order processing and order entry that live off of AR, AP, and inventory. So close out all of those third tier processes first, and then move to your second tier, inventory being the first. Next one we move to is then receivable management. Again, we want to do this at year end before you do any posting into the next calendar year for accounts receivable. The steps for that, again, are posting all sales and receivables transactions for the year. These are any cash receipts you may have, any invoices that are dated in 2023. You want to make sure you complete and post all those through before you close AR. We're recommending you do a reconciliation between your accounts receivable balance and the GL balance before you close AR, and then go ahead and close it for the year. Payables, very similar. You want to make sure you complete any year-end routines that affect accounts payable prior to posting any new activity in 2024. And this would include posting any transactions from purchasing, any receipts you may have coming in from purchasing would flow into accounts payable, and then posting any open activity you have within inside the accounts payable module, any voucher adjustment entry batches, making sure they're all posted and that nothing is on hold or balance status that is going to affect the fiscal year 2023. We want you to print the age trial balance report and then compare that to the general ledger balance to tie it out. We want you to verify your 1099 information and edit if it is required. So there's that 1099 preview report we can run. You may run some accounts payable reports by vendor to determine what the total spend for a vendor was and confirm that with the amounts that you're showing in your 1099s for those vendors. And as you're probably aware of, you have the option to edit those amounts in the vendor record itself if you need to do any adjustments, any final adjustments before producing the 1099s. Then we want you to go ahead and print and or email those 1099 statements, generate those files that need to be sent to the IRS and go ahead and send it, and go ahead and close the year and close the tax year, which is that thing that rolls forward your current and prior year 1099 information. You want your current 1099 year information to be 2024, so it can start capturing any of that information in your prior to be 2023. So you can continue to generate 1099 reports until they're complete and adjusted. After completing all those second tier of modules, we now move into the main module, which is general ledger. There's a couple things we encourage you to think about here. Of course, the first is make sure you close all the subledgers first. The second is that you want to verify that all your general ledger batches are released and posted, those that are designed to be posted to calendar or fiscal year 2023. Calendar year 2023, I should say. And you can do that by running the batch register report and doing a summary for periods 1 through 12. And that should be able to identify any batches that are on other than P for posted status. You can also filter that report by the status equal H for whole, B for balanced, S for partially released, and U for unposted. And that'll be able to shorten that list down where you just get the ones that need to be dealt with. So if you've got a batch out there that's still on hold for 2023, don't want to close GL until you decide what to do with it. Either post it, correct it, fix it, or delete it, remove it, because you're not going to post it to 2023. Continuing with that, resolve those batches. So again, B for balanced, which means that the batch has been submitted and balanced. It can be released in that release GL batches screen, but it has not yet posted to the system. So we want to make sure that we release and post all those that are on balance status. H for hold status. These are batches that have been created and put on hold, and for whatever reason they've never been released for posting. We want to make sure you address that. U for unposted. If you have a configuration set up in GL where you require two-step posting, meaning you release it first and then post it second, then you want to make sure that you run the GL posting process, very simple process in General Ledger under utilities. Just run the posting, make sure all those transactions get posted and they update their account summary records appropriately. For some folks, this is optional because they may have their GL system configured to release and post all in one step. Those are later feature functionality provided in Dynamics SL. So anyway, we want to see if any batches are in U status, make sure they all get posted. You can also run a GL transaction unposted report for anything that is unposted, review those entries in detail, decide what you want to do with them. And if you have any batches that are in S for suspended, you want to try to release those again. If they don't post, then you want to reach out to our support desk who can work you through whatever is preventing those items from being partially released. There's no one single answer for this, so it does require some engagement from our tech team to figure out why batches are partially released or suspended. But we can clear those up before you do the year-end closing. And then we recommend that you run the GL detail report and the trial balance electronically through PDF and store that, retain that for your records. Finally, we do recommend before doing year-end closing, logging off and making sure you got backup. For most of our folks, that means doing all this activity and finishing one day, going home, your IT will automatically make a backup of the system, and then coming in the next morning and starting that close of the general ledger. And you do that again by going to the general ledger process. The screen is listed right here. There's a step of what the closing does, but essentially, closes out your revenue expenses, gets your beginning balance set, and gets the year set for you for next year. And then afterwards, you can run some reports to confirm that the year-end close functioned properly. Rarely do we ever see this not be the case. But again, if you're on a balance sheet, to make sure that they tie, you're in the income statement, you're tying really 12 of 2023 to the beginning balances for 1 of 2024 to make sure that all those balance sheet accounts were rolled over properly. There are some helpful sites out there. So this one is general. You should be able to access it from the general web. This is the Microsoft customer support page. In there, you'll find information under tax and updates is where we'll find the year-end update. Certainly, we are poised and positioned to help you apply those year-end updates and have done so for most of our customers for many, many years. So reach out to your customer account manager so that we can have our technicians schedule time to do those installations for you. They're pretty straightforward. We'll only take a couple hours of time and you will be up and running with your year-end updates. And again, if you want to do it yourself, you can find that information here out on the web. That concludes our year-end webinar, but we will pause at this moment in time to take any questions you may have. And Michelle, if you could please remind everybody how they can submit questions.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Just a reminder that if you would like to ask a question, please enter it into the question box on the GoToWebinar menu, and we will have some time here to get those answered for you. So Jeff, I'm taking a look to see what has come in. One of the questions is, can you close a year in Dynamics SL more than once?
Excellent question. The answer is no, but there's a caveat. So once you close the year is closed. That's part of the reason why we ask for you to do a backup before you do the close, because should you ever need to roll back for whatever reason, you want to make sure you have the option to do so. And that would be rolling back the database to prior to your doing the close. But there is no unclose in Dynamics SL. There's no way to roll back a year and make it open in General Ledger. This is true of some subledgers like Project Controller, for example. You can roll it back. The reason why there's no need to do this is because SL, when properly configured, will allow you to post to a prior period or prior year. And when you do post that prior period or prior year, it will roll forward those balances appropriately. So there's no need to do closing again to update your balance sheet accounts, because when you post to a prior period, it will update those balance sheet accounts automatically as part of the posting process. So have no fear. You can close that general ledger whenever you're ready, and if you need to make adjustments to that for whatever reason, maybe audit adjustments later in the year, you can post back to that prior year. Now, there are some configuration settings that just determine whether you can or cannot post back to prior years. Those are all found in General Ledger Setup. You want to make sure those settings are set appropriately to allow you to post back to a prior period or prior year. But you can, rest assured, you can do so after doing the General Ledger closing. So thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's see, another one here. What if our IT staff does not have the resources or time to assist with year end?
Another good question, and that's quite common. Many of our customers rely on us to apply either year-end updates or do upgrades to the latest versions of Dynamics SL, and there's good reason for that. You know, we have hundreds of SL customers, and we do those year-end updates and upgrades for them all the time, so we get to see it over and over again. With running into whatever issues you may have along the way, whereas your IT staff gets to see just once a year. And typically it's something that, you know, it's not an area of great strength for them because they only do it once a year. I mean, who's good at what? Anything that they do just once a year. And so we often help clients either install the year-end updates or do upgrades for them. I would encourage you to reach out to your customer account manager who can work with you in getting our IT team engaged to get those year-end updates installed. I would encourage you, if you do want to have them installed, reach out sooner rather than later. As you are aware of, the 1099 deadline is the end of January, and we get a flurry of activity towards the end of January, and we want to make sure that we can fit everybody in to get those year-end updates before the January deadline.
Great, thank you. Another question here on closing. Can we close the subledgers one day and the GL another day?
Yes, you can. So there is the option in Dynamics SL to independently close a subledger without closing the general ledger. This is quite often used with our customers. So for example, customers typically will close accounts payable fairly soon, 1 or 2 days into the next month, so as to avoid someone accidentally posting to December of 2023 when I'm in the calendar year 2024. It is worth noting that when you close general ledger, if a subledger is not closed, general ledger will automatically, the general ledger close, I should say, will automatically close that subledger. So if you do want to wait until you close general ledger, you may, but quite often, and I think it's probably best practice, people close their subledgers first, as was recommended in this presentation, before they close general ledger. And that's our best practice. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Just doing one more check here. I think we might have gotten all the questions. We'll give everyone another minute if you'd like to, if we didn't get your question answered, if you'd like to enter it in the question box. But I think that might be it for today. So thank you for the presentation, Jeff. I think you explained it pretty clearly. Not many questions today.
Thank you, and I want to thank everyone who attended. We do appreciate your business and appreciate you choosing Quisitive as your Dynamics partner. And I want to wish you all happy holidays and a very, very Merry New Year.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. We will be sending out the recording for the webinar along with a copy of this presentation. And as Jeff mentioned, if you have any questions or need any assistance with year-end, please reach out to us. We're happy to help you. And thank you for joining, and have a great afternoon and a wonderful holiday season.